So, welcome to Joyful Eating for Midlife Vitality. I'm your coach, Jules Clancy, a food scientist and winemaker and massive food lover. So, I've discovered a simple way to get to this magical place where I listen to my body. So, I eat what I want, but not too much. And I feel awesome in my clothes. And I also feel in control on the number of the scale, even though I'm in my 50s. And I can help you get here too. Listen on to find out how. So, this week we're talking about why there are no bad foods. It's one of the cornerstones of being a naturally healthy person. Let's dive in. So, actually, before we get to that, the best bite I had this week, well, actually last week, I had a friend over for lunch and I made some poached chicken with broccolini and then this amazing sauce from Salmon Nosrat's new book, Extra Good Things. So I made my own labna, so yogurt cheese, and then mixed in caramelized onions with miso. And yeah, it was just that cheesy, miso-y, oniony. It was kind of like cheese and onion dip, but on a whole new level. Then that with the broccolini and chicken. So good. And we had some roast walnuts, bit of crunch. Yeah. Recommending Samin's new book, actually. Very good. Okay, so plan for today is first I'll just share the story behind why I wanted to record this episode. And then we're going to look at why there are no bad foods and the two exceptions that I have to my no bad foods rule. And then how I approach food and nutrition instead. And then we'll wrap up with I've got a little home play exercise for you to experiment with this week. So, basically, the reason for this episode was someone who's in my Joyful Cooking for Natural Vitality program had posted for coaching, and I'll just read out what she said. So she said, even if in theory I know what to do, trust my body, and eat what feels good to me, a recent loss rocked me to my core, and I'm just freaking out, over consuming contradictory info on what is healthy and what isn't. I used to eat whatever I wanted without a care in the world, and now I just feel scared. I'm so grateful for this kind and compassionate community. I know I'll find support here. Thank you for reading my post. And then, so I had followed up with her and said, just to get some more details and asked her what exactly she's been thinking about this. And she said, the thoughts that are racing through my head are along these lines. It feels like nothing's really safe to eat anymore. I want to preserve both my health and the environment, but how am I supposed to do that since the experts can't agree among themselves? I've heard about the dangers of lectins and oxalates. What am I supposed to eat to avoid poisoning myself? So, the short answer to this coaching is so this all that narrative around oxalates are going to poison us and not knowing what to trust, what to eat, comes from this idea that there are good foods and bad foods, healthy foods and not healthy foods, and that if we need to just only be eating the healthy foods and then you will be okay, but if we don't, we're doomed. We're going to poison ourselves. So you can notice that just even just thinking about it in those terms, of course it feels scary. Is feeling for my clients. So I think let's have some compassion for ourselves. And of course, it feels there is so much conflicting information out there. But we're going to address both of those concerns today. And the first way that I approach nutrition is that this idea that there's no bad foods, right? It's all food has value. And some foods are more nutritionally valuable, but then other foods are culturally, and there's nostalgia that we get from eating them, or there's a celebration aspect to it for me. And those reasons for eating are just as valid as the nutrition reasons, right? So I think that's the first place. If we only look at food from a nutrition perspective, we really limit ourselves and we miss out on a lot of the richness that food can bring into our lives. Culturally, emotionally, there are so many layers to food. And so that's the first reason why there's no bad foods. It's because even if it's not very nutritional, there can be other values that we're getting from eating it. And then the other problem with seeing food as good and bad is that it kind of has this reverse, psychology effect, or where, if we're telling ourselves something's forbidden and that it's bad and we shouldn't be having it, it actually on some level builds the desire to eat that thing, which means then we're actually wanting it more than if it was, I can have this, whatever. Again, having that bad food label can make us overeat more, it builds that extra desire. But the real fundamental reason why I believe there are no bad foods is that it really comes down to how much we're eating of everything. That determines whether something has a negative impact on our health or not. So, just do the thought experiment. Think about if you just have one cookie once a week, not going to be a problem for your health. Whereas if you're having a whole bag of cookies every single day, different story. And there was a really great documentary that exemplifies these, two documentaries actually. So first of all was Super Size Me, which you may remember, where this guy ate every meal at McDonald's, and whenever they asked if for a month, and then whenever they asked if he wanted to supersize, he said yes and ate everything they gave him. So yes, you can imagine by the end of the month, that experiment, he was not feeling very well. He'd gained weight, and yeah, he was not in a good place. But what you may not know is there was a follow-up documentary created by a university in the south of the US. And in that, it was called Portion Size Me. So it was the same premise, eat every meal at a fast food restaurant. So eating bad food every meal for a month. But the difference with this was that rather than supersizing, the participants actually ate according to the appropriate amount of food for their body type and body size. And so fascinatingly, in this experiment, by the end of the 30 days of eating fast food, they ate different things to just McDonald's. I think they gave themselves a bit more variety, but eating the appropriate portion size. So even though it was junk food, right, even though fast food, neither of them gained weight. One of them might have lost a pound, and none of their health markers had changed. I think there may have been one's blood pressure may have been slightly better, but everything else was pretty much the same. So that just really illustrates that it's how much we're eating that really has the biggest impact on whether something has a negative impact for our health or not, which means for my client that's struggling, it's just right. So just approaching food from this nutrition from this perspective, it's right. I don't have to know all the nutrition and know everything inside out. Just getting the quantity right is the first step. So the two exceptions for no bad foods is, first of all, if something's going to kill you, right? So if you have an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts, peanuts are probably bad for you. So yeah, that's one. And then the other exception is anything that you don't enjoy eating, right? So for me, that's tripe. Most foods I love. But yeah, so for me, tripe, I'm happy to see of it as a bad food. And interestingly, there's no bad boy effect there. It's not increasing my desire for tripe. So if there's anything that you really don't like, whether it's traditionally considered healthy or not, give yourself permission to see it as a bad food. Okay, so that getting that out of the way. Now, what do we do instead? So if we're not going to approach food from this good food, bad food perspective, how do we approach nutrition? And I think my client had said that it really does come down to trusting your instincts and listening to your body, right? Just paying attention, doing little experiments on yourself and noticing how food makes you feel and noticing how different quantities of food make you feel, not just in the moment, but a couple of hours later or the next day. And just by observing that gently and doing little experiments with yourself, you can figure it out. You will know, oh yeah, for me, it's okay if I have a little bit of cheese, but if I have a heap of cheese, I feel really bloated and gross later. And then it's, cool. It's good to know. So then when you are eating cheese, you'll be, oh, look, I'll have this little bit, but your back of your mind, you'll be, oh, well, I don't really want to overdo it because I don't want the bloated feeling. Or you may decide, actually, I do want to overdo this cheese and I know I'm going to feel bloated later, but it's worth it, right? But you can make those judgment calls. The cool thing is when we approach nutrition from this self-experimental perspective, it doesn't matter what the experts say. It doesn't matter that there's zero agreement because you are the world expert on you, and really it only matters how you feel in your body to you. And so this way you get to feel empowered. You're not wasting time over consuming conflicting information. You just start to tune into yourself, and that really is the best way. And so that's how we want to do it. Is that there's no bad foods. I just got to pay attention to how food makes me feel, and I am the world expert on my body. And over time, I'm always refining. I'm always doing little experiments on myself, seeing how it feels if I cut something out or if I add something back in, and just noticing how it feels. And always reminding myself that how much I eat is way more important than what I eat. And the other thing the person was concerned about, the environmental aspect of food, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But the cool thing is that when you focus on getting the quantity right, that's way more important. We've got this obesity epidemic where So many people are eating way more than their body needs. All those resources could be going to feed the rest of the world. So I think for me, just me being a good citizen and listening to my body and not overeating more than my body needs, that's the best thing I can do for the environment. You can be as plant-based as you like, but if you're still eating twice as much food as your body needs, that's not good for the environment, right? Just, I'm not an environmentalist, but just that thought experiment, it makes sense. Hey. So, our takeaways from today is food moralizing, seeing food as good or bad isn't helpful. And what we want to do instead is just doing experiments on yourself and give yourself permission to enjoy all the foods you love and experiment with yourself. And also remember that how much we're eating has way more of an impact on our health and our weight and all, aspects of health than the what we're eating. And so your home play this week is just I invite you to experiment. Think of something that you're not sure about how that feels for you, whether it's something that's helpful for you to be eating or not, and maybe do an experiment where you don't have it for a few days and then add it back in and just see how your body feels and just really pay attention in the moment, a couple of hours later, and afterwards from this place of I'm the world expert on my body and I can do experiments to figure out what's best for me. Okay, have a beautiful week experimenting on yourself, and I will catch you next week.